John Forty believes all good things start with a seed.
What's your favorite plant? If you start with a plant you love, and you only plant one thing, even if it's in a single pot out on your door stoop, maybe that pot of cilantro or the tomato or whatever it was you grew is suddenly going to bring a world of pollinators to your doorstep, or some birds, or a chipmunk, and suddenly you're interacting with your environment.
The founding director of Bedrock Gardens in Lee has published a book, The Heirloom Gardener: Traditional Plants and Skills for the Modern World, where he aims to educate and inspire people to look for ways to make meaningful change in their own backyard, literally.
The mission of Bedrock Gardens really speaks to my personal mission and my heart in keeping green space open and alive, and as an educational backdrop for people who maybe just need to slip away from their everyday lives and remember that there's a lot of beauty in the world, and some of it you can cultivate right in your own backyard.
John was approached by publisher Timber Press to write a book about garden history, but the seasoned horticulturist and ethnobotanist had a different idea.
I didn't want to write a story about Olmsted and the men who defined a few specific gardens, but really look at garden history from the backyards of everyday people and how we survived, how we fed ourselves, medicated ourselves, and brought aesthetics and beauty to our homes and tables through our backyards. So really this book is a look at gardening as a craft. I organized the book into a series of alphabetic essays. Some short and sweet, others a little bit longer. They're all punctuated by beautiful artisanal woodcrafts made by Mary Azarian, who is a New England Caldecott Medal winning artist, whose work I have always loved. From essay on apple cart, which is about creating and turning over some systems that could use it, like local agriculture, to zucchini, with a fun sense of humor about what zucchini season brings and just what it means to have abundance from the garden that we can share.
John jokingly claims that he was raised by a river. His love for plants and gardening cultivated by his surroundings, along with his grandparents and neighbors at a very young age.
My first job in horticulture was as the horticulture director at Plymouth Plantation.
From there, John went on to work at Strawberry Bank in Portsmouth and the Massachusetts Horticultural Society, never losing focus on organic gardening, education, and fostering a deeper understanding of the places we live because of the landscapes.
A big part of my work has always been putting a focus on the heirloom plants that preserve biodiversity and history in every bite you take, or every plant in your garden, or native plants that really are most at home in our habitat. And by planting those sorts of things, they bring around the wildlife, but also that deeper sense of place that I was talking about, just by the cultivation of them. It also just evokes the idea that through heirlooms, we are preserving a piece of the past. Kind of like your grandparents' heirloom jewelry or rug or dishware. They tell stories that make us want to keep things alive for the future. And that's really what my page and the book try to do, is help us care enough to preserve the things of value for the future.
John hopes that his book serves as a guide and a bridge to common ground.
Whether it's by helping to preserve an old bean that was famous in New Hampshire, or by getting your kid or your grandkid to love gardening, or creating some new legislation that helps our state keep moving forward. in positive uses of land, like the town we're in here that has almost a quarter of the land in green space and farms. That happens because good citizens get involved and take action.